Short story ideas from the news continued, part 3. Yesterday we looked at Mars and the personal characteristics that are going to be required of the people who are going there. And I ended up by saying that nobody's going to be coming back. And that by and large will be true, I would imagine. It's going to be a one-way trip. Anyway, today I was looking through my Facebook feed and came across this huge discussion, sort of related to COVID-19, about vaccination and the group of people who are known as anti-vaxxers. And it seems that, somebody within this particular group divided them into two groups. There are the people who have good cause to be wary of vaccines because of personal experience. Somebody in their family or they themselves received a vaccine or were vaccinated, and there were adverse consequences, some of them fatal, tragically. And then the other group of people that the person identified were people who have read something alarmist on the net and read further things which increased their alarm, and therefore they're against it. And there were, in the thread, there were a lot of different things. Somebody noted the ingredients in an apple include cyanide and a lot of other things, which I thought, hang on, those things are good for you. And then they revealed it was an apple. So there's that. The reason I'm mentioning this is because that is today's prompt for fiction writing. The whole pro-vaccination or anti-vaccination stance. And I've got my list of genres here, so let's take a look at how that could be the starting point for writing a story. Okay, comedy. It have to be very, very dark comedy, but it could be done. There's room for comedy there. Literary fiction, Big Family Split, examining the human psychology of either believing negative things or somebody who is rigorously so scientific that they bore the pants off everybody, or the tragic consequence of somebody having a vaccine and being allergic to one of the ingredients inside. Science fiction and fantasy. Vaccination is delivered with X-Men type results, or science fiction, it could be the development of the vaccine for some future disease. I mean, the reboot of Planet of the Apes started with vaccination against cancer. So yes, it was Planet of the Apes. There was also a vaccine involved in the Will Smith film about the zombies, which is a remake of The Omega Man. I Am Legend, or whatever. Crime, mystery, somebody ends up dead. They were supposedly given a vaccine. It turns out that they got an embolism because somebody took it upon themselves to repuncture the wound at home and inject a couple of air bubbles into them while they were asleep or something like that. So they murdered them for why, a who done it, a how done it, or well, it would be a how done it, a why done it. Thrillers. Somebody hijacks a vaccine for a plague of some sort and then holds or tries to get a ransom, and your Jack Ryan type has to go and track them down and somehow stop the vaccine, the poison vaccine or the whatever it is that they're putting out there from getting amongst the general population. Historical, well, I mean, vaccination was the result of, and inoculation was the result of Louis Pasteur's work, amongst others. I'm sure there were many people involved in both his team and in other places worldwide. And what is the difference between vaccination and inoculation? Might want to look that one up. Political, well, it's very political at the moment, isn't it? So you could get a hypothetical vaccination program and turn it into kind of a political slinging match, which is what essentially is happening, but turn that into your own story. Surreal, well, instead of vaccination in a surreal kind of story, perhaps leeches or something like the whatever that creature is that they put into Chekhov's ear in Star Trek, and then it becomes symbiotic, and as a result of this, certain but not all of the people who've been vaccinated using this symbiotic creature, or perhaps another virus, a kind of a virus which actually bacteria eat viruses, don't they? So it's a kind of a bacteria, but it forms such a symbiotic thing that with certain people it gives them hallucinations or gives them strange powers, or the world is changing in some surreal way. Horror, same thing, but the consequences are horrific. People become monsters, they become zombies. I think it's time for another creature which is somewhere between a zombie and a ghost, or a zombie and maybe a werewolf, who knows. Biographical, well, you could write a biography of Louis Pasteur or Madame Curie, any of those greats, and perhaps in some ways highlight some dramatic period of their life, so you concentrate on that, and then maybe go and emphasize what was the struggles that they had to also overcome during their life in order to get to the position of being a revered scientist. Jury, well, malpractice, medical malpractice trial, and then a Dr. Watson type, or Boswell type, somebody's chronicling the duties that they performed as a, I don't know, some sort of lab assistant or something, while some great figure saved the world with a vaccine of some description. Okay, 8 minutes. Still not there. I'm going to have to get my game together, aren't I? And so the camera's here. I keep looking over there. Yeah, anyway, tomorrow, the news part 4.